Welcome back to the George Collection. I'm Rachel Rightside Blonde. A lot's going on in Israel and Iran, and I want to encourage everyone to go back and watch episode 131 if you haven't seen that. In that episode, I talk about Yitzhak Rabin, the assassination of him, and the supposed killer of Yitzhak Rabin. And the mother of the supposed killer wrote this story about it, and it's a pretty eye-opening tale. And let's just say that Netanyahu is also in that video. So go take a look at that video, episode 131, after watching this video, of course. Go back and watch that and let me know what you think about that video too. Today, I wanted to look back at the July 1999 issue with Salma Hayek on the cover. And it's pretty fitting right now. It's extremely hot outside, at least in Iowa it is, and it talks about the Latin heat. The reason I chose July 1999 is because I wanted to go back through this issue and take a look and see if there was anything I missed the first couple times I looked into it, because usually that's what happens. But I wanted to look back at this issue because this is the month and year that JFK Jr.'s plane crash happened. So let's take a look and see what we can find in this issue. Right away in the second advertisement, the first advertisement, by the way, is for cigarettes, but the second one is for a Sony camera, and it says, "Change the way you see the world." On the staff page, it says, "George coming attractions. Move over, John Kennedy. A mystery man takes George's helm and lends his cutting-edge wit to our special issue on political humor." It's kind of interesting. In the editor's letter, it says this: Independence Day. On the 4th of July, we bring out the flags, dance in the streets, and celebrate the freedoms of life in the USA. In doing so, we honor the vitality of the American dream, which allows us to chase after money and power, to devote ourselves to public service, or simply do nothing at all. It's exactly that liberty to choose that draws so many people from around the world to come and pursue their own American ideals. And it goes in and talks about all the Latinos because this is the Latino issue, but it says this: "In this issue of George, we salute some of the Latino community's most compelling individuals. The boxer, Oscar de la Hoya, who hopes to win 7 titles in 7 different weight categories. Dennis Rivera, the union boss, who has become so influential in New York Democratic politics that Hillary Clinton won't be able to do without his support if she chooses to run for the Senate." Interesting that Hillary Clinton Senate run is brought up in this issue. And then here's a really funny one. On page 17 of all pages, it says, "John McCain wimps out." On page 32, there's an article called "The Real War Room." The White House swears Kosovo won't become our next Vietnam, so how come the president's denials sound like deja vu all over again? What I find interesting is the picture at the bottom left. There's a picture of good old Clinton, Madeleine Albright, John Podesta, Sandy Berger, Ken Lieberthal. John Podesta looks a lot younger in this picture. Right next to that page is a Parliament cigarette ad that says, "From out of the clear blue." On page 35 in this magazine, this is hilarious. There is an ad called "How Would You Make America Better?" And it's about the George book of 250 Ways to Make America Better. Chocolate-flavored lifesavers, starting the revolution of rising expectations, electing a woman president. But at the bottom it says, "Published by Villard. Available in stores on June 14th. Whose birthday is June 14th? Flag Day, DJT's birthday. And what does DJT say? He says, "Let's make America great again." So that's pretty cool that that book was available in stores on June 14th of all days. On page 39, under the Ask Alphonse section, it says, "Why do you think Hillary Rodham Clinton's politics and policies are a disaster? She had a lot of passion and some good ideas. What went wrong?" And Alphonse says, "Hillary Clinton's philosophy is government knows best. She would have the government control the destiny of the people. She went into the White House thinking that the government could solve every health care problem in America and came out with a plan that looked like a bowl of spaghetti. If she had her way, we would never have replaced welfare with workfare, and America would be stuck with a tired, defeatist welfare system that only created a cycle of dependency, harming those it tried to help. Hillary Clinton believes government is the answer. Why did she turn out to be such a disaster? That's why." The rest of the magazine has lots of stories from movers and shakers from the Latino community. I thought it was interesting in Salma Hayek's article, She's quoted to say, "It's good to see that Mexicans are finally beginning to confront their government and starting to speak out to fix things instead of just complaining." And it also says in the article, illegal immigrant issues have clearly colored LA's perception of all Latinos, who make up more than 40% of the county's population. The last thing I want to point out was on page 20, there is an ad for American legend Bob Dylan. And it says, Bob Dylan brought politics to pop music, becoming a reluctant voice for the protest generation. On the eve of a new tour, rock's restless rebel continues to confound, inspire, and leave us all tangled up in blue. That does it for our look into the July 1999 issue of the original George magazine. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you next time.
Of this extraordinary magazine, George, which is a hoot of a magazine. I thought you were a lawyer.
I was.
What happened?
Well, we decided, actually taking a cue from folks like yourself and you around the 1992 election, that there was an opportunity here to change the definition of a political magazine. Certainly the way Americans were accessing information about politics and politicians was changing. Candidates were appearing on late night talk shows, on talk radio, on sitcoms, and there was a kind of a leveling process, and while the rest of media clearly had caught up with that, we felt that political magazines per se hadn't.
Your mother was a hell of an editor at Doubleday.
That's what I hear.
Would she have liked George?
I think she would have.